Let's get familiar with the Inkscape interface. So let's open Inkscape. And let's go over the interface quickly here. At the top we have a file menu, and there are lots of tools in here. Object tools, and as you look at these tools, for instance, if I click on fill and stroke, that's going to open a panel. And these are actually dockable objects that you can put in the panel. And if I click and drag on the title, it'll actually pull it out into a new window. This is actually really valuable if you have multiple monitors. You can arrange across multiple monitors and have a lot of tools visible at the same time without filling up your workspace. You can always just redock them, open them, you can hide them over here, or close them. So those are the tools, the options, and the panels like that. We also have a dynamic bar up here at the top that will change depending on what I'm doing. So depending on the tool that I have active, we will see different controls for whatever we're doing. Down along the left side, you've already seen me grab a couple of things. This toolbar is really all of your tools, and you have your select tool up here, and we'll go through in future videos what all of these things do. And then on the right we have our snapping tools. So this will enable us to take two objects and snap them together. And if we disable that, then we don't get those snapping controls. And we can control very discreetly what we want our objects to snap to, and so forth. And then at the bottom, we have this color tool, and I see a lot of people using this. I prefer the fill and stroke dialog that we just opened earlier, but this is a really nice quick way to go grab a color if you want to do it that way. One other really important thing to note is your document properties. So when you open up Inkscape the first time, this is what you're going to see. And this is a typical page size right here. If you want something different, like for instance, you're working on a slide for maybe a video overlay or something, you're going to want this to be a different size. So the first thing that I typically do when I'm starting a new document is I go to File, Document Properties. This is going to give us a dialog that has all of our document properties. So you can choose your page size if you want to do it that way, or you can set a custom width and height. So for instance, if you're doing a 1080p slide, you might do 1920 wide by 1080 high, and obviously you wouldn't want that to be millimeters, you would want that to be pixels. I do that all the time. I always set the wrong one first. So 1920 by 1080, and now you have the document you can see is already switched to that aspect ratio. And you can pick your units here. You can see that you can switch and it will choose. So this exact set of pixels is equivalent to 20 inches wide by 11 inches, 11 and a quarter inches high. You can switch to whatever unit you're comfortable with. And then display units are what it's going to show you as you go along. So you can see the rulers change here. It'll show you how many pixels here, or if you use millimeters, however you want to display that. If you want to set this now as your new default document for Inkscape, you can go in and create a default.svg file that Inkscape will use when it launches to set up your defaults every single time. So on Ubuntu, if I go into my home directory and unhide the hidden files, I can go into .config and then the Inkscape folder, and then there's a templates folder here. Currently there's nothing in there, so if I were to take this and save it, I could put it there. I could put it in config, Inkscape, templates, and we'll just call this default.svg. Now when I close Inkscape and I open it back up, it's going to load the same defaults, and you can see that resolution is the same as it was before, and I'm using pixels across the top on the left. So this is a really handy way to do that. On Windows, it's a very similar process. One more cool thing I get to show you is themes. So on Ubuntu, if I go to File and I go to Edit and I go to Preferences, we can actually pick a different theme. So we can use the system theme, or we can make it look really fancy, like I'm some great artist and I have a really sophisticated system here. So whatever is most appealing to you, you can set your theme right there in those preferences. And that is it.